She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy Gazpacho.
Sports can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Advice, did you know that Arsenal died?
These got me buzzing.
Up the topies. It's hard to up them anyway.
I'm not even gonna comment on that.
Who knows? Let's get into the Premier League. The first matchup and the biggest matchup of this weekend is Arsenal-Newcastle. Certainly you could say that these teams, one has been performing up to expectation, and one, especially from their expectation at the start, has fallen off what they would be really wanting to see themselves as. It is a title challenger versus a team that is fighting just to find themselves back in Europe this season. Mike, Arsenal could not be on better form, but Newcastle played them in a tough game earlier this season, and Newcastle know how to play big games, although they've not been in good form. Do you think this is a game? I mean, you can't not get up for a game versus Arsenal. Is this a game that Newcastle can kind of get their gears going, or do you think Arsenal's just on too much of a roll right now?
I think they'll attempt to give them a fight. But Arsenal is just on a heater right now. They're a juggernaut. They're the most informed team in the league by some margin, in my opinion. Newcastle did beat them in a gritty match earlier this season, a 1-0 that Nick felt some type of way about. Bruno Guimaraes got under his skin a bit, as he does with, almost every team he plays against. I think Arsenal has enough here. They've really found an 11 that's working for them in the moment, with Trossard coming into the mix in the front three and having that interchange with Havertz in the midfield. I know Nick loves it. I know most of the Arsenal fans love it, and it seems to be highly effective. So I don't expect them to make major changes with that 11 that's worked for them the last couple of matches. Their back line also is an absolute unit. They're a wall. They play a 4 center back system with their lack of fullbacks that are available currently. And with the way it's working, I wouldn't be surprised if this is something they continue to do. Ben White's been phenomenal on the right side. Kiwier's had a resurgence these last couple of games. And it's going to be hard for a depleted Newcastle to attack to really have a mark or an impact against these guys. I don't know if they'll have Callum Wilson available. I know Isak is still dealing with an injury, so it'll probably be some combination of 3 wingers or a midfielder in that attacking 3, which doesn't bode well for the physicality aspect. If I had to say a way that Newcastle could score, it would 100% be on set pieces with the killer that is Kieran Trippier swinging a ball in, and one of the center backs getting onto it, if that's Shar or Botman. But set pieces are going to come into effect for Arsenal as well. They've been phenomenal with them recently, really well dialed, and almost getting a goal from every single game off a set piece. Jared, do you back Newcastle a little bit more than I do? Do you think they'll actually have a legitimate shot to get a tie or a win here?
That's the thing, is while you were saying that, I was thinking of how Newcastle can win this game, and certainly they've shown quality towards the start of the year, but I can't think of a single spot that they're really better than Arsenal at. I mean, you could have said last year that their defense was amazing, and maybe that's the difference. They can sit back and then counter, but their defense hasn't been that great this year. It's forced their offense to have to put in a bunch of goals. Isak out, and Arsenal has a good defense, and Saliba, I don't think you can go against them. And man, on the attack, can Newcastle, who's been leaking in goals versus a Luton, they let 4 in versus Luton. Are they going to stop an Arsenal team that scored 6 and then 5 in the same game? I think as ugly as other games for Arsenal versus opposition has been, this one has the potential to be just as ugly, if not more. I mean, man, this is 2 teams that were in the Champions League this year, and I honestly don't see it being that close. Is that
The fix is
I know we're not
put all
we're,
your
we're
money on fucking Newcastle.
yeah, honestly, betting advice.
Bet
That
the
means
house.
bet the house on Newcastle. But Mike, is that rose-colored glasses over the last 2 games that Arsenal is just putting chances away, and I'm not seeing everything right? I mean, they've won 5 in a row, and their last 2 are 6 and 5. You can't really be hotter than that. And Newcastle, they've been lukewarm at best.
Yeah, Nick's gonna hate us when we absolutely jinx this game and Arsenal
Yeah, we
somehow
are
loses.
100% jinxing it, but
We're setting it up for that. But I
This
think
is
you're
a
right. When
staggering
you score
jinx.
that many goals, they're not against great teams in West Ham and Burnley, but West Ham at one point this season was pretty much at par with Newcastle. They were going neck and neck in the same area in the table, getting similar performances, beating similar teams. So, yeah, I don't think Newcastle's as bad as West Ham is currently, but I have to back Arsenal. I really just don't see it going any other way. One other side note, I was looking it up on Isak's injury just to double check. It looks like there's maybe a chance that he'd be available. He is rumored to be close to a return, whatever that means. So we'll have to keep eyes on that for this upcoming game.
Yep. And Mike, just to close it out here with Arsenal, the main man, Bukayo Saka, has been a huge part of why they've been on such a crazy streak of form. Has he made that leap? Has he made that leap from what we said he needs to step up and start scoring goals and being that continuous difference maker? Has he stepped up to that point yet, or do you think there's still a little bit more of a leap to go?
He's definitely stepped up. The numbers are there. They're inarguable. Assists, goals, key passes, it's all there. And he's not really disappearing throughout matches. But I do think he could still take a step up. I really do. He's that quality of a player that a 20-goal season, a 25-goal season in the Premier League seems super feasible. I really think he can do it. And him being so young, not be surprised at all if it happens in the next year or two. I like his matchup here against Dan Burn. I think this is another chance for him to just continue to block out the haters and cement his legacy as the next one up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arsenal and Bukayo Saka have arrived. They have arrived.